Ever wonder what a $100 million sandwich tastes like? Well, you're not alone. Turns out one billionaire decided to find out. But that's just the start of the crazy things these ultra-rich folks buy. From gold toilets to dinosaur skulls, we're about to take a wild ride through the shopping carts of the world's wealthiest. You know how we get excited about scoring a good deal on sneakers? Well, billionaires get that same rush dropping millions on stuff we can't even imagine. While we're out here pinching pennies, they're throwing cash around like it's going out of style. And trust me, some of the things they buy are so wild you'll think I'm making this up. But I'm not. These are real purchases by real billionaires. And that $100 million sandwich? It's just an appetizer. We're talking private islands, movie props, and even trips to space. Yeah, you heard that right. Some of these guys are so loaded they're literally leaving Earth behind. But don't worry, we'll get to all that good stuff. Wait till you hear about the billionaires who are literally buying pieces of the past. We're talking dinosaur bones people. Nicolas Cage, yeah, that Nicolas Cage, once dropped $276,000 on a Mongolian dinosaur skull. Turns out it was stolen property, and he had to give it back. Ouch. Cage wasn't too happy about it, saying the dinosaur skull was an unfortunate thing because I did spend $276,000 on that. I never got my money back, so that stank. Talk about a prehistoric pain in the wallet. But dinosaurs are old news compared to what some of these rich folks are putting in their bathrooms. Mike Tyson, the boxing legend himself, spent a cool $2.2 million on a bathtub. And not just any bathtub, we're talking 24-karat gold. Imagine taking a soak in that thing. It's like bathing in your retirement fund. Now, you might be wondering, why would anyone buy this stuff? Well, it turns out these billionaires aren't just throwing money around for fun. It's all about status, baby. Owning something no one else has, like a piece of history or a toilet that's worth more than most people's houses, is like the ultimate flex in the billionaire world. It's not just Cage and Tyson either. There's a whole crew of super rich collectors out there. Take Steve Cohen, this hedge fund guy who spent somewhere between $8 million and $12 million on a preserved tiger shark. Because nothing says I've made it like a giant dead fish in your living room, right? But here's the thing, it's not just about showing off. For some of these billionaires, collecting rare and expensive stuff is like their own personal branding exercise. It's their way of saying, look at me, I'm not just rich, I'm interesting too. It's like they're trying to stand out in a crowd where everyone's already wearing solid gold shoes. And let's be real, when you've got more money than you know what to do with, why not buy a dinosaur skull or a gold bathtub? For these guys, dropping a few million on something weird is like us splurging on guacamole at Chipotle. It's just another Tuesday. But before you start feeling too jealous, remember all that glitters isn't gold. Well, except for Mike Tyson's bathtub, that actually is gold. But you get what I'm saying. These purchases might seem cool, but they come with their own headaches. Just ask Nick Cage about his dinosaur drama. Sometimes being a billionaire collector is more trouble than it's worth. But don't worry, they've got plenty of cash to cushion the blow. You thought private islands were the peak of billionaire excess? Think again. These guys are now setting their sights way higher, like outer space high. Yep, the ultra-rich have gotten bored with Earth and decided to make the final frontier their new playground. Take Richard Branson, for example. This guy's not content with just owning an airline, he wants to own space travel too. His company, Virgin Galactic, is selling tickets to space for a cool $450,000. That's right, for the price of a nice house, you can float around in zero gravity for a few minutes. Branson's all about making space more accessible to everyone with $500,000 to spare, that is. But Branson's not the only billionaire with stars in his eyes. Elon Musk, the guy who apparently can't decide if he wants to sell cars or buy Twitter, is also in the space game. His company, SpaceX, even sent the first all-civilian crew to space in 2021. Because why stop at electric cars when you can launch people into orbit? And let's not forget Jeff Bezos. The Amazon boss founded Blue Origin with the goal of having millions of people living and working in space. Guess delivering packages on Earth just wasn't challenging enough for him anymore. But here's the thing, these guys aren't just throwing money at rockets for fun. Well, maybe a little. But there's more to it. It's like they're all in this weird billionaire space race, each trying to outdo the other. Musk wants to colonize Mars, Bezos wants space stations, and Branson just wants to give rich people the ultimate selfie opportunity. And you know what? People are eating it up. These space ventures have turned these billionaires into modern-day explorers. They're not just rich guys anymore, they're visionaries, pushing the boundaries of what's possible. At least that's what their PR teams want you to think. But here's where it gets interesting. This isn't just about joyrides for the super rich. These billionaire space cowboys might actually be shaping the future of humanity. Their projects could lead to major breakthroughs in science and technology. We're talking advancements that could benefit all of us Earthbound folks. But hold up, before we start planning our Mars vacations, we've got to ask, is this really a good idea? Sure, space exploration sounds cool, but what about all the problems we've got down here on Earth? And who gets to decide how space is used? Is it really okay for a handful of billionaires to basically claim the cosmos? These are big questions, and the answers could affect all of us. But for now, these space-obsessed billionaires are pushing full steam ahead. Or, should I say, full rocket ahead. They're spending billions on their cosmic dreams, while the rest of us are left staring up at the night sky, wondering if that moving light is a star, a satellite, or just Elon Musk's latest toy. So you thought blasting off to space was the pinnacle of billionaire excess? Think again. These guys aren't just conquering the final frontier, they're buying up chunks of our own planet too. Yep, we're talking private islands, mega yachts, and jets that make Air Force One look like a toy plane. Let's start with Richard Branson. This dude didn't just buy a vacation home, he bought an entire island. Necker Island, to be exact. And get this, he snagged it for a measly $320,000 back in 1979. That's like pocket change for a billionaire. But don't go thinking you can score your own tropical paradise for that price now. Branson turned it into a swanky resort where the ultra-rich can pretend they're castaways. If castaways had personal chefs and infinity pools. But owning an island is old news. The real flex? Having a floating mansion. Enter Roman Abramovich and his yacht, Eclipse. This thing isn't just a boat, it's a $1 billion beast of the seas. We're talking 6,000 square feet of living space, 11 bedrooms, and get this, it's got its own submarine. Because apparently being above water is too mainstream for billionaires these days. Now you might be wondering, why would anyone need all this? Well, turns out it's not about need at all. It's about showing off. These islands and yachts are like giant, floating billboards that scream, "Look how rich I am." It's not enough to have a nice house anymore. No, you've got to have your own piece of paradise that no one else can touch. And it's not just about luxury either. Take Abramovich's Eclipse again. This thing isn't just fancy, it's like a floating fortress. It's got missile defense systems. You know, in case some other billionaire gets jealous and decides to start a naval war or something. But here's the kicker, these purchases aren't just affecting the billionaires. They're changing how we see wealth altogether. When we hear about a guy buying an island or a billion-dollar yacht, suddenly our definition of rich shifts. That guy with the nice car down the street? PSA, he's small potatoes compared to the dude who owns his own country. And it doesn't stop at islands and yachts. Larry Ellison, the Oracle guy, bought 98% of a Hawaiian island in 2012. Yep, you read that right, 98% of an entire island. He dropped $300 million like it was nothing. Imagine being one of the 2% who didn't sell. Talk about a weird hey-oh-hey situation. But here's the thing, while we're all out here dreaming about winning the lottery, these billionaires are playing a whole different game. They're not just buying stuff, they're buying freedom. An island or a yacht isn't just a thing to them. It's a way to escape, to be totally in control. No neighbors, no rules, just them and their ridiculous amount of money. So next time you're feeling fancy because you splurged on guac at Chipotle, just remember somewhere out there, a billionaire is probably deciding which of their islands to visit this weekend. Or maybe they're taking their yacht to their other yacht. Yeah, that's a thing. Welcome to the world of billionaire status symbols, where too much is never enough. You thought blasting off to space was wild? Well, these billionaires aren't just trying to conquer the final frontier, they're trying to conquer aging itself. Yeah, you heard that right. Some of these ultra-rich folks are dropping serious cash on the craziest health and beauty treatments you've ever heard of. Let's talk about Jocelyn Wildenstein. This socialite didn't just get a little nip and tuck, she went all out, spending a whopping $4 million on plastic surgeries. That's not a typo, $4 million on her face. She wanted to look like a cat, and let's just say, mission accomplished. But here's the kicker, she's not even happy with the results. Turns out, money can buy you a new face, but it can't buy you satisfaction. But wait, it gets weirder. You know how some people take vitamins? Well, some billionaires are popping gold pills. Yep, you read that right. For just $425, you can buy a pack of 24-karat gold pills that supposedly turn your poop into gold. Because nothing says I'm rich like literally crapping gold, right? These pills were designed by an artist named Tobias Wong, and they're basically the ultimate flex for people who have more money than sense. Now, you might be wondering, why would anyone buy this stuff? Well, turns out it's not just about looking good or having fancy poop. These crazy purchases are all about status. It's like these billionaires are in a competition to see who can spend their money in the most outrageous way possible. They're not just trying to look young and beautiful, they're trying to prove they're better than everyone else. But here's the thing, all this extreme spending on health and beauty isn't just about vanity. It's actually pretty sad when you think about it. These billionaires are so scared of getting old and dying that they're willing to try anything, no matter how weird or expensive. They're like kids with unlimited allowance in a candy store, except the candy is plastic surgery and gold pills. And it's not just affecting the billionaires themselves. This whole culture of extreme beauty treatments is changing how we all think about aging and beauty. When you see someone spending millions on their face, suddenly your $50 face cream seems pretty lame, right? It's like these billionaires are setting impossible standards for the rest of us. But at the end of the day, all these crazy health and beauty splurges just show that even billionaires are human. They're scared of getting old, they want to look good, and they'll do pretty much anything to stand out from the crowd. The only difference is, when they have a midlife crisis, they don't just buy a sports car, they buy a whole new face. So next time you're feeling bad about splurging on that fancy moisturizer, just remember at least you're not spending millions to look like a cat or eating gold pills. Sometimes being broke has its perks. So we've seen billionaires drop cash on space trips and gold toilets, but what's the real deal with all this crazy spending? Sure, it's fun to gawk at their wild purchases, but let's talk about what it actually means for the rest of us. These ultra-rich folks aren't just buying islands and yachts, they're shaping our world in ways we don't even realize. You know how Bill Gates gave $4.6 billion to his foundation? That's cool and all, but it's a drop in the bucket compared to what these guys are worth. It's like they're playing Monopoly with real money, while the rest of us are just trying to pass go. And get this, some of these billionaires are so obsessed with living forever, they're dumping millions into anti-aging research. Imagine being so rich you think you can buy extra time on Earth. Meanwhile, most people are just hoping to afford healthcare.